Welcome to the family, son.
I've played Resident Evil 7 more times than I can count, probably 100 times. At least metaphorically. But really, I've spent countless hours exploring every dark corner of the Baker estate, analyzing every detail of its horror. And if there's one thing that stands out the most, it's Jack Baker. Today, we're going to dive deep into Jack Baker's psyche, his transformation, and what makes him one of the most terrifying characters in Resident Evil history. This will be a comprehensive analysis, nothing left off the table. We'll even explore the Resident Evil 7 DLC, which gives us deeper insight into how Eveline entered the Baker household and changed their lives forever. So, let's get started.
Boy! You can do it. You better now? What the fuck? He's got it.
Before the horrifying events of Resident Evil 7, Jack Baker was an ordinary man, a hard-working family man. He lived with his wife Marguerite and their children, Lucas and Zoe, in a rural, isolated house. To the outside world, Jack was a respected figure, the patriarch of his family, someone who would do anything to protect those he loved. He wasn't always the monstrous figure that chased Ethan Winters across the Baker estate. In fact, Jack's tragic story is one of loss, of being manipulated by a force he couldn't control. His life took a drastic turn when he and his family encountered Eveline, a girl who brought with her a deadly mutagenic fungus, the E-Series. This fungus, with its power to control and mutate, would forever change Jack's fate.
Stop it!
Don't you worry. It's a whole lot worse than it looks. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and your mother's pretty fucking close to meeting him right now. She wants me to do this. I have to show her how to hold. She wants us all to show her our love.
Daddy!
You don't want to disappoint her now, do you? We can't do that.
What are you talking about?
Your new sister, Eve. When I ask for rope, I expect to get rope.
Jack's transformation isn't just physical, it's psychological as well. When he first encounters Eveline, he begins to experience subtle changes, both in his appearance and his personality. At first, these mutations are small and manageable, but over time, they spiral into uncontrollable monstrosity. His body mutates into something unnatural, and his mind becomes enslaved by Eveline's influence. While the fungus causes Jack's body to regenerate and become near immortal, it also strips away his humanity. The father, the protector, begins to vanish. In his place is a savage, relentless killer who is more monster than man. But even in his mutated state, Jack retains fragments of his old self, adding layers of tragedy to his character. He's aware of what he's becoming, yet powerless to stop it. Jack Baker is not merely a force of nature. He's a sadistic character whose cruelty transcends mere physical violence. In Resident Evil 7, we're not just up against a monstrous entity, but a man who finds pleasure in breaking his victims both physically and mentally. His sadistic nature is revealed in moments that go beyond the bloodshed. It's about the psychological torment he inflicts upon those trapped in the Baker estate. Take the family dinner scene, for example. The scene is disturbing on multiple levels, not only because of the grotesque setting, but because of Jack's behavior. He doesn't just want to hurt Ethan. He wants to break him, to drag out his fear and discomfort. There's an almost theatrical quality to his sadism, as if he's playing a twisted game. As he forces Ethan into the dinner, Jack's laughter fills the air, almost like he's enjoying the show as much as the pain he's causing. Jack's sadism goes deeper than physical harm. It's about control. He enjoys having the upper hand, and the horror he inflicts is just as much about his victim's psychological unraveling as it is about their physical demise. He plays with their minds, toying with them as if they were pawns in his own sick game. It's evident in how he drags out Ethan's suffering through taunts and terrifying moments of silence, letting the tension build before delivering another strike. As Jack hunts Ethan through the estate, it's clear that he relishes the chase. He could have ended Ethan's life at any point, but instead, he prolongs the torment. The constant pursuit is a display of Jack's sadistic joy, and it makes him all the more terrifying. He enjoys the power he has over Ethan, and the fact that Ethan can't escape only amplifies Jack's sense of control. The pursuit is a metaphor for the psychological grip Jack has on his victims. He's never really gone, always watching, always stalking.
Do I have your attention, boy? You're about to see some wonderful.
Fuck!
But what makes Jack truly terrifying is the occasional flicker of his humanity. Amid the sadism and madness, there are brief moments when Jack seems to remember who he was when the man he once was breaks through the monstrous persona. In these moments, Jack pleads for an end to his suffering, begging to be killed, to be put out of his misery. These moments reveal a tragic awareness of his condition, a desperate plea from the man he once was. It's these moments of humanity that elevate Jack from just another horror villain to a deeply tragic character. In these fleeting glimpses, we see a man who once had a family, who once fought to protect those he loved, who now finds himself trapped in a nightmare of his own making. The fungus has stripped him of his free will, and he is forced to do its bidding. But these brief flashes of his old self highlight the conflict inside him. He's not just a monster, he's a victim too. Even in his moments of torment and pain, Jack's internal conflict is palpable. On the one hand, he's consumed by the monstrous rage of the E-series fungus, driven by its need for destruction. But on the other hand, he's a man who can still feel the loss of his old life, a man who remembers his humanity and his family. And it's in these moments that the horror becomes even more visceral. Jack is both monster and man, both predator and prey, both the cause and the victim of his own torment. This duality is what makes Jack so compelling as a character. He's a man who was once filled with love, hope, and purpose, now reduced to a mindless killer, driven by an unrelenting need to hunt and destroy. But in his rare moments of clarity, we see the man who desperately wishes for an end to his suffering, trapped in a body that no longer belongs to him. What makes Jack Baker particularly chilling is that we, as players, are forced to confront the tragic reality of his condition. He's not just a mindless monster. He's a tragic figure, cursed to suffer and kill against his will. His sadistic behavior is not just about the enjoyment of inflicting pain, but about the deep internal torment he's forced to endure. The horror Jack represents is not just the external threat, but the psychological devastation of losing one's own identity and one's own humanity.
Marguerite, open up. Found another one.
I'm coming. Oh. Oh, she's so young.
Yeah, how's our other guest?
Sleeping, poor thing.
No, I say let him. He'll be okay here for a few days. Leastwise till we can get him into town.
Zoe, go get some fresh clothes from the laundry room, okay? Oh. Looks like there's some sort of oil spill or something.
Yes.
Let's get this poor girl some fresh clothes and into a warm bed. We'll put her in Lucas's old room.
Oh, come on, can't you put her somewhere else?
Oh, Lucas, you just hush. You long outgrown that room. Always wanted to run a bed and breakfast.
You got your big break, didn't you? Get her to bed. I'll put some soup on. Ugh. Good enough for soup, don't you think?
In Resident Evil 7, Jack Baker is not just a monster, he's a man who for a brief time still had hope. But all of that changed when Evelyn entered his life. His transformation into an unrelenting predator is not just a matter of physical corruption, but a harrowing psychological conflict. In the End of Zoe and Daughters DLCs, we witness his slow descent into madness and how Evelyn manipulated not only his body, but also his mind. When Jack first meets Evelyn, he isn't a monster. He isn't even a man consumed by the parasite. He is still the father trying to protect his family. But Evelyn brings more than just a disease. Her apparent innocence hides a power that alters the mental balance of Jack. Her presence begins to corrode the emotional stability of the family, and Jack is not immune. Jack appears confused, but fascinated. Evelyn, the girl who seems to possess an almost angelic innocence, provokes a complex reaction in Jack. His paternal instincts are awakened, but so are fear, insecurity, and a desire for control. His mind is quickly flooded with doubts. Who is this girl really? And what is happening to his family? The truth, which Jack cannot fully understand, is that Evelyn is not just a girl, she is a parasite, a mutagenic fungus that slowly seeps into the minds of those who come into contact with her. Jack, like the rest of his family, becomes infected by her influence. It's not just Jack's body that undergoes the transformation, but his mind as well. His paranoia begins to grow. From his perspective, the house itself starts to feel more hostile, as though Evelyn has the power to manipulate his perception of reality. In the Daughters DLC, we see another aspect of Jack, his growing inability to separate reality from madness. The visions, the confused memories, and the constant feeling of losing control turn him into a being irreversibly corrupted. Jack becomes suspicious, paranoid, and starts to doubt everything, especially himself. The mind of a man who had a family to protect is slowly being destroyed, and the parasite growing inside him is a symbol of this psychological degeneration. But the real psychological pain Jack experiences is not just physical, it's the alienation from the people he loves. As Evelyn's influence begins to spread, Jack faces a dilemma that every parent fears. His family is changing, and he can do nothing to stop it. His wife Marguerite grows increasingly distant and incomprehensible, and his son Lucas are more and more under Evelyn's control. It's as if he is watching his family transform into something unrecognizable, unable to intervene. This powerlessness is what makes Jack even more tragic. His psyche fragments as he struggles to hold together what's left of his family. The parasite is eating away at him, but the most devastating thing is that Jack is aware of what's happening. He's not blind to his descent. He knows he's losing control, but his desperation pushes him to make impossible choices. His complete transformation into the monster we see in the game is merely the final step of a long psychological evolution. Jack, a man who was once loving, a husband and father, has become a monster, but he is never completely devoid of consciousness. The horror is not just in what he does, but in what he is forced to become a puppet of Evelyn, a man who can no longer recognize his own humanity. As Jack begins to face his end, there's a final shred of humanity that emerges, a tragic awareness that he has been a victim of an uncontrollable disease. He didn't choose to become a monster, he was forced to. And though his death comes as a relief to him, his tragic end is not a victory, it's a bitter surrender. Jack Baker is a man who has lost everything: his family, his identity, and his soul. Eveline is the parasite that destroyed him. But what makes his fate even more tragic is that Jack was never fully devoid of awareness. His physical transformation was inevitable, but it is his psychological death that truly marks the end of his being. And that's the tragic descent of Jack Baker, a man who was manipulated, broken, and ultimately lost to Eveline's control. His story is not just one of horror, but of deep psychological suffering, making him one of the most tragic figures in Resident Evil history.
I know, you're right, and I always wanted to tell you, but I can only remember a little, and the rest is just gone.
Daddy, right? You mind if I borrow Mommy for a little bit? Why don't you stand there? Do something!
Ethan, help!
For me, Resident Evil 7 remains one of the most terrifying and intriguing titles in the entire saga developed and told by Capcom. One of those horror video game journeys that leave a mark, not only telling a story that is both tragic and horrifying, but also immersing you in it until the very end. In the previous video, I talked about Jack Baker, telling you his tragic story, who he once was and how he changed, transforming into the monster that tormented Ethan through a good part of Resident Evil 7. Today, however, I want to shift the focus to the protagonists of this story and their journey through the swamps of Dolby, Louisiana, what they felt, the emotions they experienced, and the fear that soon turned into courage against the threat of Eveline. Today, we will talk about the Winters couple and their terrifying journey into the nightmare within the walls of the Baker family. Without further ado, let's begin.
Ethan, if you find this, I know I can't expect anything from you. Not after what happened, after what I did. But I just want you to know that wasn't me. I don't know what happened. There's so much that you need to know.
There you are! You gave us quite a scare, young lady.
Presumed dead by her superiors, Mia has been a prisoner of the malevolent Eveline for 3 long years. What appears to be just a little girl is in reality a biological weapon engineered to infect and control people through a powerful mutagenic agent. But Mia's captivity is not just physical, it is psychological, mental. Eveline does not simply restrain her, she breaks her, erodes her will, and reshapes her into something she no longer recognizes. Time loses meaning inside the Baker house. Mia lives in constant fear, always under Eveline's watchful gaze. The girl craves a family, but her twisted concept of love is nothing more than an obsession, a sick need for dominance. Every attempt Mia makes to resist is met with unbearable pain. Her mind clouds, her thoughts scatter, and her sense of self crumbles. The fear never fades, it only deepens. Her memories become fractured. At times, she remembers who she was. At others, she drowns in a haze of confusion, slipping between moments of clarity and violent blackouts. She knows she has changed. She feels the infection inside her, creeping through her body like an invisible chain binding her to Eveline's will. Even when she believes she is thinking for herself, Eveline's whispers are always there, insidious, inescapable. The voices are relentless, a constant reminder that she is no longer in control of her own mind. Sometimes, Eveline appears out of nowhere, staring at her with those soulless eyes, whispering twisted lullabies that send shivers down her spine. Mia's sense of time becomes warped. The days blend into each other, marked only by Eveline's unpredictable moods. Some days, Eveline is almost affectionate, clinging to Mia like a needy child. Other times, she is cruel, punishing Mia for perceived slights with waves of unbearable agony. Mia no longer knows what it means to be herself. She is exhausted, drained, a hollow shell moving through a nightmare that never ends. Mia Winters, once a woman full of love and hope, is now a shadow of herself. What she has experienced over the past years is beyond comprehension, a psychological and emotional war waged by the very thing she feared the most, the manipulation of Eveline. The once simple, warm life she shared with Ethan is now a twisted memory, buried beneath layers of fear, trauma, and the insidious whispers of a being far more powerful than she could ever imagine.
Watch it.
What? Why?
You need to remember, so we can be a family.
The first moments after Mia is found on the Baker estate show her in a confused and anxious state. She's reluctant to speak, visibly disturbed by the presence of Ethan, but still yearning to be close to him. At this point, Mia is struggling against an invisible force controlling her. Mia's descent into this nightmare begins the moment she steps into the Baker estate. She's trapped, not just physically, but mentally. Eveline, the entity manipulating her, had already begun to exert control. But how did Mia experience this? How did she cope with her psychological breakdown? It's hard to imagine the terror Mia must have felt, a woman whose sense of reality was being violently stripped away, piece by piece. At first, Eveline's presence might have seemed benign, perhaps a distant memory of a child's innocent need for love. But that was far from the truth. The reality was crueler. Mia was being manipulated, her mind twisted by Eveline's strange and powerful influence.
Yes, Evelyn. I remember.
Can we be a family like before?
No, Evie. We can't be a family. We were never a family. We will never be a family.
Then I don't need you anymore.
In those moments, Mia's mind was at war. Her body controlled by the infection, her thoughts fractured by the influence of Eveline. The message to Ethan, "Stay away," wasn't just a plea for safety. It was a cry for help, a desperate attempt to protect the one person she still loved. But deep down, she knew that the infection was too far-reaching. The entity that controlled her wasn't just trying to hurt her. It wanted to consume everything she held dear. The infection didn't just manifest physically. For Mia, it was a psychological torment, hallucinations, paranoia. It was a constant mental battle. Was she losing her mind? Was she really seeing these horrific things? Or was her mind simply playing tricks on her? Every new image, every eerie whisper only deepened her anxiety, pushing her closer to a breaking point. Eveline's control over her mind wasn't just about keeping her subdued. It was about breaking her will to fight. The videotape, a device of cruel manipulation, is another attempt by Eveline to pull Mia back into the fold of her so-called family. At first, it might have seemed like a simple attempt to reach out. But to Mia, it was a reminder of her fractured state, of the person she used to be, and the horror she could never forget. How does one hold on to their sense of self when everything around them is designed to erase it? Mia and the team are now aboard the ship. The tension is palpable as they encounter more infected individuals. Mia, now deeply affected by the infection, struggles to keep her composure. Eveline's presence grows stronger, and Mia becomes more visibly broken. The ship, a place that should have been a safe haven, but was instead another trap. It's where Mia finally faces the complete unraveling of her sanity. It's not just the threat of death. It's the overwhelming sense of control that Eveline exerts over her mind. She is no longer in control. She knows that. And with each passing moment, Mia feels a suffocating weight of that realization. The scene intensifies as Eveline manipulates the situation further, and Mia's colleague is killed violently by Eveline after a confrontation. The death of her colleague is a turning point, not just a loss of a companion, but another moment that fractures Mia's psyche. The horror she experiences, the guilt, the helplessness, is something far more profound than simply witnessing death. It's the recognition that even those she once knew could fall victim to Eveline's control. Mia can't save anyone, least of all herself. Mia is thrown into the water as the ship explodes. Her body is battered, and she slips into unconsciousness. And then, the explosion. The fall into the ocean, Mia loses consciousness, her mind slipping into oblivion. What followed was likely a blur pain, confusion, a violent shift into the unknown. The impact of the explosion, the chaos, it's all too much for her body and mind to endure. In that moment, she's no longer just trying to survive the infection. She's battling a total loss of identity, a disconnection from everything she once knew.
Ethan? Thank you.
Who the hell else was I gonna choose?
Ethan.
Mia, I know you've been through a lot. We need to talk. You had something to do with all this, didn't you? Look, I just want to know the truth.
Ethan, I honestly don't remember.
Try. Is that the boat? How the fuck did that get here? Oh, you're okay. What the hell was that?
What the fuck? What is that? What is that?
Mia regains consciousness, washed ashore. She struggles to recall everything that has happened, but memories blur together, only fragments remain. Mia awakes on the shore, confused. The trauma, the physical injury, the psychological breakdown, it's all overwhelming. She doesn't remember everything. Some moments are gone entirely. Some memories slip away like sand between her fingers. The mind, in its desire to protect itself, has locked away pieces of her experience. But can she ever truly escape the horrors of the past? Will she ever regain what was lost? Mia Winters will never be the same. She may have escaped Eveline's clutches, but the trauma of what she endured will follow her forever. The infection, the manipulation, the loss. It's not something that can be simply erased. Mia's mind was pushed to its limits. And while she may be free, the cost was great. The family she once knew, the life she once had, will never be the same. And for Mia, survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about trying to remember who she was, even when the person she used to be seems like a distant memory. This approach analyzes Mia's psychological state in response to the traumatic events in Resident Evil 7. We have explored her stress, fear, and psychological collapse under Eveline's control, providing insight into how these experiences may have mentally and emotionally shattered her.
Zoe? Zoe,
Not now. We don't have the time. Do you have both ingredients?
Right here. There should be enough, right?
It would make them fast enough. My father and Lucas aren't far away.
He's coming. Daddy's coming.
Good. There's enough for two.
So after we make the serum, what's next?
There's a boat outside. We'll take it through the swamp. But neither of us will get very far without the serum. Hey, one of those is mine.
Zoe! Get your ass back to the house! I will deal with you later!
Ethan Winters, a man once leading a simple, unremarkable life, has found himself thrust into an unimaginable nightmare. A man searching for his wife Mia, whose disappearance has led him to the eerie, desolate mansion of the Baker family. His heart races not just from the horror he will soon face, but from the aching uncertainty that his wife is still alive. For Ethan, this is no longer just a search. It is a journey into the unknown, a descent into madness. At first, Ethan is understandably overwhelmed. Nothing can prepare a person for the sheer terror he encounters in the Baker home. The sights, the bodies, the mutilated corpses, the unnatural happenings are enough to make anyone question their sanity. But Ethan is not a soldier. He is not a trained fighter. He is a man who, until now, lived an ordinary life. Yet, in this moment, he is forced to confront the unimaginable. The terror of the unknown, the shock of violence, the violation of all that is safe. Ethan's psychological armor is cracking. It's here that we start to see the true strength of Ethan's character. Though the house is falling apart, its horror is pushing him to the edge. There's something driving him. His love for Mia is unwavering, and it's that love that propels him forward through the madness. For a man like Ethan, the fear isn't enough to stop him. It's the hope of saving the one person he cares about that keeps him moving. When Ethan comes face to face with Jack Baker for the first time, the weight of the situation becomes undeniable. The Baker family isn't just a threat, it is a force of madness, a symbol of all the horrors Ethan will have to face. The physical pain is one thing, but it's the psychological torment that slowly starts to break him down. Jack's taunting words, his relentless pursuit, his casual cruelty. They chip away at Ethan's sense of reality. Every step he takes, every wound he endures, it all becomes a reminder that Ethan's survival is a game of endurance, a test of will.
You.
Why does everyone hate me?
It hurts! It hurts! It hurts! Damn you! Damn you all to hell!
Each encounter with the family forces Ethan to redefine his sense of reality. Jack's relentless pursuit makes him question whether escape is even possible. Marguerite's grotesque transformations force him to confront the inhuman nature of his captors. Lucas, with his cruel traps and games, strips him of any illusion of control. Every step forward is met with an escalating sense of powerlessness, pushing Ethan closer to the edge. Mia is both the reason Ethan came and the source of his suffering. She swings between victim and monster, her moments of lucidity fleeting. Ethan is trapped in an emotional limbo. Does he still trust her? Does he still love her? Or is she already lost? Her erratic behavior plays into Ethan's growing paranoia. When she attacks, it is sudden and brutal. When she pleads, it is desperate and haunting. The infection has taken her, but how much of her is left? This internal struggle culminates in the choice he must make: save Mia or Zoe. This decision, though seemingly moral, is symbolic of his own survival.
Timecodes.
Eveline is more than a villain. She is the embodiment of control and manipulation. Throughout the game, her influence manifests in subtle ways, from hallucinations to whispers, gradually eroding Ethan's perception of reality. By the time he reaches the ship, the full extent of her power is clear. She doesn't just infect the body, she invades the mind. Ethan, now stripped of everything. It is here that he sees the truth. Mia was never simply missing. She was part of something far worse. The betrayal runs deeper than he ever imagined. When Eveline forces Mia to attack him one final time, Ethan is faced with the painful realization: to survive, he must let go of who he used to be. By the time Ethan faces Eveline, he is no longer the same man who arrived in Louisiana. The fear that once held him back has turned into something else resolved. The horror has hardened him, stripped him of hesitation. The ordinary man who came to rescue his wife has been reforged into something else, a survivor. The final moments in the salt mines are not just a battle against Eveline, but a battle against everything she represents. She wants family, control, submission. Ethan, despite everything, refuses. And when he pulls the trigger on the serum, it is not just the end of Eveline. It is the end of his own torment. As the helicopter takes him away, Ethan should feel relief. But what remains? He has survived, but at what cost? The horrors of the Baker estate will never leave him. The wounds, both physical and psychological, run too deep. Mia may be alive, but can things ever go back to the way they were? The scars are too fresh, the memories too vivid. Ethan Winters entered the nightmare as an ordinary man. He left it as something else. A survivor, yes, but also a man who has stared into the abyss and knows that it still stares back at him. To close the analysis effectively, let's reflect on the lasting impact these events have on Ethan and Mia. Here's my conclusion. Though Ethan and Mia escaped the nightmare, neither will ever truly be free. The horrors of the Baker estate leave wounds that time cannot heal. Ethan, once an ordinary man, has been reshaped by fear, loss, and survival. The man who sought to save his wife now carries the weight of everything he endured, the pain, the violence, the moments he was forced to question his own humanity. Mia, despite being freed from Eveline's grasp, is not the woman she once was. The infection may be gone, but its echoes remain. Her fractured memories, the haunting guilt, the lingering uncertainty of how much of her was lost in that shipwreck. Can she and Ethan truly rebuild their lives? Or will the trauma fester in the silence between them, unspoken but ever present? The game may end, but for them, the nightmare never truly fades. They may have survived Resident Evil 7, but survival does not mean escape. Some horrors stay with you forever. I wanted to make this video because I have a special connection to this game. Besides giving me goosebumps, it fueled my passion for what I've been trying to turn into my job for the past couple of years, becoming an independent developer. But that's a story for another time. Resident Evil 7 is a journey that goes far beyond just a game. It's a title that's not easily forgotten and leaves a lasting impression. But now, I want to hear your opinion. Have you ever thought about how Ethan and Mia truly experienced this nightmare? And do you think Resident Evil Village gave us all the answers we were looking for? Let me know in the comments, and as always, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.
Ethan?
Mia. You made it. I'm glad.
Did I?
They say that when one door closes, another opens. Well, a door closed tonight. And what a long night it was. But not just for me. Mia and I weren't the only victims here. So were the Bakers. It was that thing, Evelyn, who made them that way. But now Evelyn's dead. And these guys are here to clean up the mess. I had just come to terms with losing Mia. And now she's back and wants to start over. Put all this behind us. Maybe this is where the next door opens.
Grace! Grace! Grace Ashcroft.
Resident Evil 9 is coming. Scheduled for 2026, it's expected to mark the end of the current saga, a conclusion to the storyline that began with Resident Evil. And while we don't know much yet, one thing is certain. This next chapter has a lot to live up to. But here's something you and I both know all too well. Sooner or later, someone has to make a proper list of the best villains Capcom has ever created in the Resident Evil franchise. And for me, without a doubt, two of my all-time favorites are Marguerite and Jack Baker. No disrespect to Nemesis. No shade to Mr. X or the iconic Albert Wesker, and you know, the list goes on. But the Bakers? They brought a kind of horror we hadn't seen before. Because Resident Evil 7 wasn't just a reboot. It was a terrifying reinvention of the franchise. A return to horror. And the faces of that horror were the Bakers. In this video, we're going back to the roots of Resident Evil's modern fear. Back to where it all started. Jack and Marguerite Baker. Two of the most unforgettable nightmares Capcom has ever unleashed. So, without further delay, let's begin.
Where am I? What the hell?
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for supper.
Who are all you people? Where's Mia?
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb some bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Oh, yes.
Not again.
Get out the way, Marguerite. Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy. Let's do this.
Shit, oh shit, oh shit, he's not eating it, Jack! He's not eating it!
Get the hell up, Marguerite!
I made that for him!
Get the hell out of here!
You're a son of a bitch! Oh, I can't believe it, you son of a bitch! He's not eating it, he's not eating it!
If Jack Baker is the face of brute force horror, Marguerite is something else entirely. She's the kind of terror that crawls under your skin. Literally. Or chase you with a shovel. She stalks you. She mutters to herself. She talks to her bugs like they're her children. And the more time you spend in that rotten greenhouse of hers, the more you start to feel like you're being watched from every crack in the walls. Marguerite's horror is all about violation. She invades your space physically, mentally, viscerally. Her power over insects is grotesque, sure. But it's how she uses them to breed, to control, to infest, that's deeply disturbing. And then she changes. She becomes this twitching, crawling abomination. Part woman, part spider, all nightmare fuel. Her body elongates, her jaw unhinges. She scuttles across ceilings and walls like something out of a fever dream. But you know what makes her worse? She never stops being Marguerite. Through all of it, the transformation, the rage, the madness, she's still calling out for her babies. Still trapped in the illusion that she's the mother of some twisted hive.
Huh? Now hold on just a minute. Oh, just my imagination. Come on now, eat up. I made that just for you. Don't worry, I'll be back real soon.
Marguerite doesn't just want to kill you. She wants to reclaim you, make you part of her family. And that, in some ways, is even worse. She's not the most iconic villain in the franchise, but she might just be the most disturbing. A slow burn nightmare hidden behind a cracked smile and a lantern full of rot. But while Marguerite was the queen of creeping dread, Jack Baker was something else entirely.
Stop it!
Don't you worry. It's a whole lot worse than it looks. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and your mom is pretty fucking close to meeting him right now. She wants me to do this. I have to show her how to hold. She wants us all to show her our love.
Daddy!
You don't want to disappoint her now, do you? We can't do that.
What are you talking about?
Your new sister, Eve. When I ask for rope, I expect to get rope. Just gonna have to teach you a lesson.
Daddy! He's gone into you!
While you're under my roof, you'll do as I say, you hear me?
Get away! Daddy! Stop it! Please!
She's waiting for you.
Jack Baker isn't just a character. He's an event. From the moment he knocks Ethan unconscious in the opening hour with that brutal line, "Welcome to the family, son." You know this isn't your typical Resident Evil villain. He doesn't hide. He doesn't monologue from a distance. Jack gets up close. He breaks through walls. He hunts you, relentlessly in ways that feel personal. The first phase of his terror begins in the main house. No music cues. No safety. Just you and him. You hide, he finds you. You run, he smashes through the wall. Then comes the garage fight. A moment that flips expectations. You try to survive, and Jack grabs the car and tries to run you over with it. He laughs through the whole thing, like a man who knows this is a game you've already lost.
Pathetic.
But he doesn't stay dead. You burn him. You shoot him in the head. He comes back, again and again. And then, there's the morgue. One of the most intense boss fights in the franchise. A claustrophobic hellhole, chainsaw duel included. Jack mutates his face, splitting, his body transforming into a meat sculpture of rage. And through all that violence, he talks. He taunts you. He calls you by name. He's not just a monster. He's a person, twisted beyond saving. And here's the thing. The more you fight him, the more it starts to feel like Jack is the main villain of the game. His presence is constant. His personality dominates every scene he's in. Compared to him, the others, even Lucas or Marguerite, feel like side chapters. As if he was the story Capcom truly wanted to tell. And when we finally see what Jack was like before the infection, a kind, protective father, you don't feel relief. You feel heartbreak. Because in the end, Jack wasn't evil. He was taken, turned into a monster by something he couldn't control. And somehow, that makes him even scarier. He's not chasing you because he hates you. He's chasing you because that's all he has left.
I know. That's right. All her...
Mama, is that you?
Zoe, come look. Come see her gift. Look at all the pretties my little girl is giving me! Kiss me, lover!
What the hell? Get to the garage! Get some rope! Go, now!
You see, Resident Evil 7 isn't just scary because of what you see. It's scary because of how it makes you play. Every encounter with the Bakers is designed to keep you off balance. Capcom could have just thrown jump scares at us, and sure, there are a few. But the real fear? It's systemic. It's psychological. Jack Baker operates like a slasher villain inside a living maze. He doesn't patrol on a timer. He responds to your noise, your movement, and he doesn't go away until you figure out how to escape. His threat is pure pressure. You hear him before you see him. His boots on the floorboards, his voice echoing through the walls. You open a drawer, he hears it. You run too loud, he's there. That's why the main house becomes unforgettable. You're not just exploring, you're surviving. Hunted like a rat in your own haunted dollhouse. And every time you think it's over, Another version of Jack returns. Bigger, meaner, more grotesque. Marguerite, on the other hand, is the slow burn. Her horror is built on claustrophobia and disgust. You're not running from her. You're sneaking around her, hiding behind walls, watching her tend to her swarms like a deranged beekeeper. One wrong step, and she's whispering from the shadows.
Daddy, stop! Oh! Why are you doing this?
Yo, what's the matter, honey? Don't you want to play with your new sister?
Marguerite's section of the game weaponizes your patience. Every hallway is a trap. Every sound makes your stomach twist. And when she finally mutates into that grotesque, insectoid form, the fear turns from tension to pure revulsion. What makes this so brilliant from a gameplay perspective is that Jack and Marguerite complement each other perfectly. Jack is chase horror, high adrenaline, loud, fast. Marguerite is stealth horror, slow, crawling dread. And just when you start to get used to one, the game switches lanes on you. That balance of pacing, that mix of fear styles. It's what gives Resident Evil 7 such staying power. It's why, even years later, people still talk about the Bakers like they're real. So no shade to Nemesis. No disrespect to Mr. X or Wesker or any of the other icons. But Jack and Marguerite Baker, they didn't just scare us. They made us part of the family. And in Resident Evil 7, family is forever. That's all for today. I'm truly looking forward to Resident Evil Requiem, and I can't wait to finally play it. I brought Resident Evil 7 back to the channel because I genuinely love this game. And even after all these years, I still replay it 2 or 3 times a year, like it's the very first time. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel. It really helps a lot. And, as always, I'll see you in the next one.
Mia, oh, thank God I found you. It's me, it's Ethan.
Ethan? Ethan?
Are you all right?
You shouldn't be here.
What do you mean? You contacted me.
No, I wouldn't. Did I? Did anyone see you? Did he see you?
Who else is here? What the hell's going on?
Daddy's coming. We need to go.
Daddy?
We need to go now!